It's weird how some obstacles in life can represent something far bigger than what they actually are. I'm a people pleaser. I've always been a people pleaser. I always thought that was a good thing in life. When someone first said that to me, you realize you're a people pleaser, I thought, well, surely that means I'm empathetic. I help people solve problems. I burden myself sometimes with people's problems. So how could that not be a good thing? Doesn't that make me a good person? But then you realize people pleasing isn't what you think it should be. You are not a people pleaser. You're a brat. Back. So to me, I realized, breaking that chain of events, that chain that you're locked into all the time that you don't realize you're burdening yourself with, is sometimes broken with an object that you didn't even realize mattered until you realize the significance of the object. Now for me, that's this object here. It's my wife's cooking dish. The special thing about that for her is it comes from her grandmother. I do a fair bit of cooking in the house and I use this a lot. So my natural instincts would have been she has an emotional attachment. I don't want to be the one that uses it and breaks it. So I would have avoided it. But then I realized my wife really quite enjoys the fact that it's being used. She of course would be disappointed if something happened to it, but the fact that it's being used, it's a connection to her for that reason that it comes from her grandmother and is still being used in our household today, far outweighs the fact that at some point that is probably going to be broken, going to be destroyed in some way, through a mishap or a slip. Something's going to happen that's going to change that. And the majority of the thing is that, well, I use it the most. I'm the one that handles it the most. I'm the one that cooks with it the most. I'm the one that washes it the most. So the percentage of the fact that I'm probably going to be the one that it's going to break with me. And the thought used to tear me up. The thought of this connection that my wife has with her grandmother through this dish. Well, the people pleaser in me will, don't burden yourself with that. Like, make sure you're not the one that does it. But then I learned she's not going to be mad at me. The emotion is probably going to be strong when that happens, but it's actually not directed at me. It might be facing me at the time, but it's actually not directed at me. That realization that she gets more pleasure from it being used than from it sitting in a cupboard gathering dust, so the connection isn't lived. And I think sometimes we forget that, like it's a lived connection, is much more important to her than a connection that is symbolic. Most of us have something that we think of as symbolic connection, but is it lived? Is it much more likely that you're going to talk to our daughter about something that her grandmother did while it's being used? Are you going to understand that her name is probably going to be spoken about a little bit more since her passing when it's being used than if it's just in a cupboard, not so? So the fact that I had to come to terms with that energy, that disappointment, if something does go wrong, isn't actually directed at me. She knows how I handle dishes. She knows that my intentions are not maliceful or anything like that. And yet the people pleaser in me used to avoid situations like that, used to shut down a situation where you don't want to disappoint someone, so you just take a certain thing out. But then you realize the flip side of that is you're also taking away those many, many moments of joy, those many meals, the many lived experiences that are still a living connection to the person. So coming to terms with that has been a long and arduous journey for me. Coming to terms with people's burdens, other people's burdens don't have to be yours. Coming to terms with disappointment doesn't have to be carried by you. And the fact that if you're in a relationship that matters, that they understand that your intentions and the purpose of using is for that connection. She gets so much joy out of the fact that it is being used rather than it is locked away. So how many times in life do we lock things away in order not to break them, but we don't let them live either? Something locked away is in itself losing its essence, losing whatever connection or whatever story that you want to build with that item, the adventures you could have, the moments within a family, within a friendship, within, you know, even a workplace, where we lock something away that we think is intentionally saving something, and yet it's actually diminishing it. So I thought I'd share that with you, because as a people pleaser, I thought my previous self would have gone, the better thing is to not disappoint future. But the better thing to do is live for now, enjoy now, get as many memories as possible. We never know what's going to be. It could last 5 years, 10 years, 6 years, 2 days, I don't know. But that's still a better experience than being locked away forever, catching dust, and only looked at, you know, when something's been cleaned out. That's no way to remember someone anyway. Anyway, I hope those thoughts help you if you're a people pleaser and you're coming to terms with the fact that we overthink disappointment. We overthink the burden that we are trying to take away from someone, rather than sometimes the thing that we want to do, which is let them live a full life, let them remember, and let them have a connection through lived history rather than through stored history. Take care. See you on the next video.